in the world, going forward, right now, there are three things happening. One is China is rising. That is the single biggest. It's by far the most important in any of our lifetimes. That's the biggest thing that's happening. They will be the world's largest economy. It's hugely important. We don't appreciate it yet. Number two, the Middle East is exploding. It is continuing to explode. 60,000 plus Syrians dead. That war is metastasizing across its borders into Iraq, into Jordan, into Lebanon. It's even causing some instability in Turkey. And our position has been clear. You can kill Syrians, but do not use chemical weapons. Right? Do I really believe that we feel that way? No, of course not. Do I believe that we are prepared to do something to stop it? Short of that, no. The evidence is obvious. And when I say us, I am not speaking of America. I am speaking globally. And that's just Syria. Don't need to get to Iran. Don't need to get to Mali. Turned out Romney was prescient about something back in those debates, right? Got Mali right. Everyone said, why is he talking about Mali? Going to be there eventually. Failed state. It's moving quickly. Lots of these issues. The Middle East is exploding. And the third thing is Europe is muddling through. Not muddling in place. The U.S. is muddling in place. Japan is muddling in place. The Europeans are muddling through. There is forward motion, which is why we won't see those economist covers in 2013. So three things: China rising, Middle East exploding, Europe muddling through. Those are the things that truly matter in the sense that they have potentially very different kinds of trajectories and outcomes depending on where they go. The United States is fairly uninteresting from a geopolitical perspective right now. The interesting thing about those three things is that there are actually three countries in the world that are losers as a consequence of that. They happen to be the most important allies of the United States in the three regions of the world that are most important to us: Japan, Israel, and Britain. I think that is interesting. It's not because we don't care about them. But structurally, there are a lot of countries out there that are unnerved and unsettled by China's rise, but there's some goods, there's some bad. For Japan, China's rise is a bad thing. It is a problem, it is a threat, it is economically deleterious, they have lost a lot of influence, it is likely to get worse. They must be very careful not to fall further into that trap. Abe's government is in a dangerous predicament as a consequence, something we can talk about. Israel. You probably saw that Obama came out and made some tough statements against Egyptian President Morsi and some of the stuff he said against Israel recently, just said that today. The Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Turks, many others, their willingness to use populism as a sop to attack the Israelis, to worsen their relations, to cut their relations, because it's an easy thing to offer populations that are restive where you don't have a lot of other good things to say to them. That is structural. That is a serious problem for Israel. It is not getting better. And Britain, as the Eurozone muddles through, and they are muddling through, and the Eurozone ultimately has stronger and more cohesive governance, Britain will not be a part of it. In fact, you recently saw George Osborne, the Chancellor, a couple of days ago, say that if Europe didn't fundamentally change the way it was behaving, that the Brits would have no part of it. They'd have to change the way of engagement with the broader Eurozone, or they'd leave. He doesn't have a route now, but the fact is that the Conservatives that voted for him in the last election and voted for Cameron, 21% of them just polled, said that if there's an election today, they would vote for the UK Independence Party, which is a fringe, somewhat wacko, not politically established group. But nonetheless, the Tories understand in Britain that they want to stay in power. They're going to have to play ball. It's becoming very difficult. The Brits are in an impossible situation. So America's three special allies actually are geopolitically very troubled in this environment. Can we help? On the margins, we can. Can these countries take steps that can improve the situation they're in? Yes, I think they can. We can talk about that if you like. Is it also true the United States needs to refocus some of the countries they're spending time on? Absolutely. Is Germany more relevant to the U.S. than Britain going forward? Without any question. Do we understand that? Are we acting that way? Not yet. That's an interesting point. Would I want us to spend more time on Canada than Israel? Probably. We might be, actually, right now. We may be getting that one right. Japan is Japan, because given China, we're going to have to spend a lot more time on Japan than we have historically.